Peace to everyone. So, there is a bit of an issue. I just watched Jared Moore's recent video on Lawyered Up on YouTube, Muskogee Media, and basically Grayson and Kennedy's lawyers are trying to once again hold the chief in contempt for the fact that he put a stay on processing the freedmen applications for citizenship. What the chief has said is that hold off until we can rework all the verbiage to include 1866. They're trying to say that him doing that is unconstitutional. He doesn't have the constitutional authority. It's like, let me get this straight. The 1979 Constitution says you have to be a citizen by blood to be a citizen at all. We're going by the final Dawes rules of 1906. That's what it says. The chief elects, I believe it's 5 members of the citizenship board. He elects 5 members of the, another branch. I read this stuff. And I believe it's now been adjusted from 6 to 7 members of the judicial branch. But he chooses the members of the citizenship board, and they're trying to say, well, that's not constitutional, it's a separate thing. Okay, that's great, except for the fact that he's electing these guys in the first place. We're not electing the citizenship board. Okay, we're not voting for them. Okay, they're appointed by the chief in the first place, and he has sworn an oath to the best of his ability to uphold the Muskogee Nation Constitution. That Constitution, which, by the way, gives the Supreme Court its power and authority to act in the first place. The chief is obligated to uphold that Constitution. That Constitution says, by blood only. By blood only. Okay. Any proposed amendments are done by the people, not by the Supreme Court. Okay. The Supreme Court cannot amend the Constitution. If they, as Eli Grayson not so rightly points out, that they pretty much amended the Constitution with their decision to bring the freedmen in, they didn't do anything of the sort. They don't have that authority. In fact, they violated the Constitution that gave them their own authority. So this is the constitutional crisis we're in. I don't think the chief should seek to change the verbiage of our Constitution to include 1866 at all. I don't think that should have to happen. I don't think the Supreme Court acted within their authority at all. So, the people need to propose an amendment. It needs to go before National Council. We need to vote on this. And then, it has to be decided that way. That's the only way to really properly amend the Constitution. You see, the Supreme Court gets its authority from the Constitution, right? The Constitution at the time of it being ratified, 1979, said by blood only. That automatically excludes those who are listed as freedmen. Now, again, I know there's problems because there are people who were mislabeled as freedmen that should have been, listed as by blood. I recognize this. I've seen the documentation. I know for a fact that this problem exists. That doesn't mean that all the freedmen or even the majority of them have Indian blood, as some people are claiming these days without having anything really to back it up, it seems. So, yeah, they need to, I'm sorry, Supreme Court messed up. The chief was right when he said that they don't have the authority to do that, but he's still going to try to seek to keep the tribe and, cohesive and try to amend things for the to include 1866. Anyway, Grayson and Kennedy are impatient. The Freemen are impatient, and we'll see if the Supreme Court decides to, instead of shooting down their initial, like they did with their shooting down the initial order request for order for to holding him in contempt. There's a second order, and we'll see what they do, because they literally shot down like the next day. Like the next day it was shot down. So I don't know what's going to happen this time. Jared Moore doesn't know what's going to happen. Granted, this is 4 days ago when he posted this video. I haven't been paying attention to the MCN website, Supreme Court website, other than to go over the Constitution and see that, you know, from what I can tell, they don't have that authority. And the chief does have the authority to appoint people to the citizenship board. They can say, well, he can appoint them, but he doesn't have the authority to tell them what to do. It's like, really? Because it almost seems like he would have that authority. Please explain to me where in the Constitution it says that he does not have the authority to do what he just did. It sounds like it's very convenient that Grayson, Kennedy, and of course by extension the Freedmen, they love the Constitution when it benefits them. They do not love the Constitution when it does not benefit them, and it has not benefited them since its ratification in 1979, because it's excluded them the entire time. That's why they don't like it. But they like parts of it, supposedly, and I'd like to know what parts they're referring to, because it doesn't seem like they're quite right on this one. Okay. But so, I mean, I want to say, like, you know, my God, the audacity. It's like, you're going to talk about unconstitutional. The Supreme Court ruling in your favor was unconstitutional. You shouldn't even be eligible for citizenship under the Constitution that you're now claiming has authority to grant you what you want, Grayson and Kennedy, at all. So I'm sorry, like, you got to check yourselves on this one. Like, you seemingly won the battle, but, you know, it's yet to be fully implemented. It's been, what, like 2 months? You know, it's been like 2 months, okay? Give it time. Okay, it's either going to happen or they'll find some loophole. Obviously, you don't want the loophole to happen, and that's your prerogative. But I don't know if that loophole is going to be found or if it's going to be utilized to keep you guys out. I don't know. But I will say that the audacity to complain about how unconstitutional, even if it is unconstitutional what the chief is doing, what the Supreme Court did on your behalf is unconstitutional. Obviously. So check yourselves. Okay? Please check yourselves. To the rest of the Muskogee people, the real Muskogee people, if this ever does go to a vote, keep these things in mind. Because there's a whole group of people that don't really care about our Constitution or our laws, that want to take advantage of our system and who wish to allegedly utilize the Constitution to their own benefits, but to disregard it entirely when it is not. Just keep that in mind. I stand with the rights of the Muskogee people and the Muskogee Nation itself. Okay? And that, I'm standing by that by blood rule. That's where I stand. Yeah. Go look up the Rogers test. You know, I mean, I should do a video on that. I need to get it, get some printouts and do all that. But Jared Moore mentions that kind of briefly. He doesn't get into a whole lot of detail about it. In fact, half his video, the first half of the video, is talking about other stuff other than the headline topic. And then he covered other things at the end. It's like, you know, maybe half the video was about the topic. But I digress. Okay. Yeah. when you do vote in the future, if this ever becomes an issue that we can vote on, and I hope it does, be smart about how you vote. Keep in mind that you might have potentially just as many freedmen citizens as actual by-blood citizens. You might become a minority in your own tribe. And that's it. Mado for watching. I'll try to follow up again in the future. I've been delayed. So, Mado, for your patience. And Hadam Chichatlis.